So I just finished watching the new Knuckles series that came out on Paramount Plus earlier today, and yeah, I'm kind of mixed with it. Let's get into that.
The Sonic movies have been a non-stop enjoyment fest since 2020. I still can't believe that we went from almost getting one of the worst video game movie designs of all time to a full-blown cinematic universe. Just right before Sonic Movie 2 dropped, Paramount came out and confirmed that not only would they be making a third Sonic movie, which is slated to release later this year in December, but also confirmed that Knuckles, who was introduced in Sonic 2, would be getting his own spin-off series exclusively on Paramount+. To me, this just fully proved to me that the creatives behind these movies were fully confident with what they were doing, and how with Sonic Movie 3, which is set up to introduce Shadow the Hedgehog while also adapting the story of Sonic Adventure 2, and possibly even more characters from the Sonic lore, I couldn't be any happier. For now, we have the Knuckles series to get through.
I will be getting into some spoilers for this show, so if you haven't seen Knuckles yet, go and watch that first over on Paramount Plus, and then come back to this video. And if you've already seen Knuckles, then leave a comment down below of what you think of the series.
The Knuckles series takes place in between the events of Sonic Movie 2 and Sonic Movie 3, and follows Knuckles living out his life on Earth after the events of the last movie. He now lives with Sonic, Tails, and the Wachowskis over at their house. However, because Knuckles is mostly focused on being a warrior for most of his life, Maddie can't really see Knuckles as a well-behaved kid. For example, Knuckles sees some construction being done to help fix the house that Robotnik broke into during the last movie. But he thinks that it's trouble that is being done. Knuckles thinks he's protecting his friend's home, but in doing so, he brings nothing but problems. Maddie, being the mother figure to Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, gets a little worried about having to deal with him. So Sonic goes up to Knuckles and begins to tell him that everything is safe, that there's nothing to worry about, to simply relax and make himself at home. And by making himself at home, he goes on to create a warrior's throne and a battleground in the living room of their home. Maddie then gets upset at Knuckles and grounds him for making a mess. Knuckles, being the comic relief, has no idea what being grounded is. After being told what it is, Knuckles returns to the attic in which he stays in, only for Sonic to then come up and cheer him up. After doing so, Knuckles gets a visit from the ghost of Pachacamac, the tribe leader of the Echidna clan, voiced by none other than Christopher Lloyd.
And I gotta say, it's good casting, don't get me wrong. But knowing that Christopher Lloyd played Doc Brown in one of the best time travel movies of all time does make me kind of wish we saw him as Gerald Robotnik in movie 3. But still, Christopher Lloyd did a fantastic job at bringing Pachacamac to life.
After getting some advice from Pachacamac, Knuckles finds out that he must find a worthy successor to become a warrior. And so enter Wade Whipple, the side cop from the Sonic movies. And I gotta say, as much as I enjoyed the comedy from Wade, I still agree with most that this series should have focused more on Knuckles. Knuckles agrees to train Wade in the ways of the Echidna by winning a bowling match. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. The series has Knuckles and Wade going on a road trip to Reno, Nevada to take part in this bowling tournament. Now that Knuckles has left Green Hills, two gun agents set out to capture Knuckles and to sell him to a new villain in this universe, the Buyer, who used to work for Gun and Robotnik. And by the way, yes, that is his official name, the Buyer. Yep.
So this is where I feel like the show tried to promote this guy as the main big bad of the series, but he's like only in it for 2 episodes. I will mention how this show retcons the formation of Gun from Sonic Movie 2, where back then it wasn't even called Gun. I would also like to mention that knowing the Buyer used to work for Robotnik sort of does imply that Robotnik did work with Gun at one point before Sonic ended up on Earth. Unless that they're trying to hint that he worked for Gerald Robotnik, I don't know, they didn't confirm anything.
The buyer set out looking for Knuckles' quills. How did he get them? I don't know. The show never told us. Also, the gun agents are in possession of portal rings? Again, how did these guys get their hands on these two things? Listen, if the writers aren't going to explain stuff or probably didn't care, then why should I? Anyways, now that Knuckles and Wade have begun their new road trip to Reno, Knuckles eventually ends up being captured by the two gun agents who are using weapons powered by Knuckles' quills. Wade needs to step up his courage and has to save Knuckles from the two gun agents, where we then get this funny imaginary sequence of Wade breaking in and entering all James Bond style and saving Knuckles. We all know that this is in his head, so how does the mission go? Well, he messes it up, of course. However, he is able to stop the gun agents and does end up saving Knuckles. After breaking out of the Ice Cap Ski Resort, yeah, that's right, there's a Sonic 3 reference in here, we find out that there is a bounty being put on Wade. Now on the run, both Knuckles and Wade drive up to Wade's mom's house where they can rest up. This is where we learn that Wade's family has always had some rough family history. Wade's sister Wanda has always been a troublemaker, thinking she was the best at everything at times. And his dad? You know, the one where he abandons Wade as a child, as well as his whole family, to focus more on his successful career? What is this show? Why is it called Knuckles? We get a small action sequence where Knuckles fights alongside Wade's family in one amazing long take as the camera spins around the kitchen table. The next day, we see that Wade gets kidnapped and needs to find a way to be free. The one who captured Wade is one of his former bowling friends, who also happens to be a bounty hunter? Okay, whatever, I guess. After being electrocuted, Wade then begins to have a dream in which he finally gets to meet Pachacamac for the first time.
This is where his training begins, and the way it's shown is kind of funny. When I think of a training montage, I think rock music and badass moments. Something similar to like how the Rocky sequence happened. In Knuckles, it is presented to you as a musical number telling the story of how Knuckles became a warrior in the first place. Even referencing moments from the prequel comic for Sonic Movie 2.
So, update. It turns out that the giant monster and the prequel comic is not the same one from the story being told, and it's meant to be Iblis. You know, the character from Sonic 06. I just want to mention that. That's it. Honestly, I like the fact that they used practical effects to bring many things on screen. Like, they brought Angel Island, the rings, item boxes, and even used puppets for Knuckles, the Owl Warriors, and even the giant creature that Knuckles fought. But my question is, why didn't we get anything like this except with Knuckles? Why didn't we see him on Angel Island, in the special stage, getting the different rings? And instead we get this musical number that goes on for over 5 minutes. Like, did I just watch a Random Encounters music video? Wade eventually faces off against his kidnapper in a duel and returns back home with a motorcycle and the famous hat that we see Knuckles wear in the OVA. Where were you the entire episode? With Wade now ready, they both now set out to Reno for the bowling tournament. And for some reason, Wade's family tags along as well. This is where we then find out that the champion of the bowling tournament is none other than Wade's dad. Not wanting to lose the competition, Wade's dad, Pistol Pete, attempts to convince Wade to drop out of the tournament by, plot twist, hiring the same gun agents to hold his family hostage and to bring Knuckles to them. As Knuckles goes up to face off against the gun agents again, Wade attempts to save his family from being tied up, in which we then see his sister, for some reason, break her thumb to get out of some cuffs. Which, by the way, Wade had a master key for.
Before anything else happens, the two gun agents decided to use 2 rings to try and teleport Knuckles somewhere else. But after Knuckles punches the 2 rings back at them, it sort of creates like a black hole of some kind. Like 2 portal rings appeared side by side like this, creating like an infinite loop. And they basically collide with one another. And the 2 agents get stuck in that one teleported void. And the rings explode. So, yeah. Like, what happened to them? Did they just die in a void with no exit?
Wade goes down to finish off the bowling tournament, wins the competition, all while Knuckles is outside in a bar. What? We then cut to outside of the casino, where we then see the buyer attacking Knuckles with a giant mech suit.
Oh hey, I forgot you were part of this.
Knuckles ends up being knocked out as he has had all his power sucked out of him somehow. And Wade steps in to defend Knuckles, only to then see Knuckles back up and defeat the buyer by dropping the world's largest ball on top of him.
Knuckles! You just killed a man!
With that, Knuckles and Wade return to Green Hills. Oh wait, you thought there was more? Oh no, the show ends just like that. Honestly, the ending to this series was definitely weak. I would have loved to see Sonic and Tails in the final episode asking Knuckles where he was the whole time, or see Pachacamac speak with Knuckles one last time. But instead, we get a shot of Knuckles and Wade riding the bike into the sunset.
The CGI work in this show is on par with the other 2 movies, with amazing visual effects and sound design. The writing in this show, however, it's something, I'll say that. It starts off good with episode 1, but after episode 2, the writing just becomes bad. The constant product placement, like the Doritos ad, I mean, I kinda get it. I kinda do. And hearing Knuckles utter the word swagger, I just don't know anymore. I did end up laughing a lot through the first 2 episodes, because those were genuinely funny in my opinion, but the rest, like, what happened to Knuckles? He was just not in the show that much. There's jokes in this show that don't work. Not because they're bad. They are bad, don't get me wrong. But they're jokes that just joke about topics that are bad and that are currently happening in the real world as we speak. That is not funny. And my god, did it really get to me when they compared Knuckles to the Jewish. This is a thing in the show. They compared the 2. Why? I don't know. They just did it. The soundtrack throughout the entire series is all licensed music. There is not a single Sonic soundtrack in this series. At least in the first 2 Sonic movies, we got Green Hill. This show just straight up makes me angry, let me tell you. And you know what? I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't really care about the human characters. I found Wade's sister extremely annoying in this show. Like, I get there's a sibling relationship joke that's going on, like how brother and sister don't get along very well. But it just took it up to a level that I just found extremely annoying, and I did not like that at all. Wade's mom was fun at times, until she made those jokes. There's also a couple of sex jokes in this show. And let me tell you, this is a kids series. This is a kids series based on the Sonic franchise, and you're having jokes like this. They don't work. No. Overall, this series is just okay at best. For the kids. For us Sonic fans, it is just not good at all. And that's where I'll leave it. I just hope that Sonic Movie 3 does not go in this route. I don't think it is gonna go in this route. And I'm praying that it doesn't. But if it does, I'm gonna be extremely disappointed. Especially if they're gonna do it. They're gonna be introducing Shadow with this kind of writing. And I'm not gonna like that at all. They're gonna be doing the Adventure 2 story. And if they do it, I'm not gonna like that, no. So yeah, without further ado, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, share this video, you know what to do. If you've already seen the Knuckles TV series, leave a comment down below and I'll say that I'm completely sorry that you had to go through this. And yeah, don't forget to check out the other reviews that I've made on the channel. I've reviewed Sonic games, I've reviewed the Sonic G Fuels, and I've also reviewed the first 2 Sonic movies. So without further ado, I'm gonna see y'all on the next one, very soon, for Raising Rings.